comments on a podcast. Hit it, Wheezy.
Weezy. If your little boy comes to you and says, Daddy, I want to be a girl, and you just let him rock with that, you just let
Right.
He's 5. When did it become a good idea to let a 5-year-old, let a 6-year-old, let a 12-year-old make a life-changing decision for themselves?
So it sounds like his R&B stands for reasonable and balanced. But before you could say J.K. Rowling, the mob jumped on him faster than The View on a plate of skinned mice. Sadly, the next day, Neo posted this on X, quote, "After much reflection, I'd like to express my deepest apologies to anyone that I may have hurt. With my comments on parenting and gender identity, I plan to better educate myself on the topic so I can approach future conversations with more empathy." Well, how disgusting is that? It sounds like someone cut his balls off. And fact is, any apology, including phrases like "after much reflection" or "plan to better educate myself" and "approach conversations with empathy," you know that apology is as fake as Leah Thomas's period. And sure enough, it was. And Neo needs you all to hear this from the horse's mouth, not the publicist's computer.
I need y'all to hear this from the horse's mouth, not the publicist's computer. So check this out. First and foremost, I do not apologize for having an opinion on this matter. However, somebody asked my opinion on this matter, and this is how I feel. I will never be okay with allowing a child to make a decision that detrimental to their life. If I get canceled for this, then you know what? Maybe this is a world where they don't need a Neo no more, all right?
There you have it. So, Douglas, who the thinks you need to apologize for that kind of opinion?
Yeah.
I mean, it tells you everything you need to know about publicists in general.
Yeah. And that horrible one, after much reflection.
Yes.
No,
oh
it's
my
like
God.
after 8
Eat
hours.
a
You didn't
dog
think...
of or a bag of not a dog of
Well
You eat
said.
the dog long enough, eventually you'll get there.
Yes.
Anyway, agreeing with the thrust of your sentiment, Greg. Yeah. First of all, he hasn't reflected a lot. His publicists have said, "Oh my gosh, some online blue-haired people have gone a bit mad. You've got to apologize." And then he does. And then look, this has happened before. And there's lots of lessons to take from it. One thing is, you don't save your career these days if you apologize. You just don't. And it's a shame, because sometimes people do get stuff wrong, and it's worth apologizing. These days, you apologize, and the mob just comes for you more. So I'm really pleased he did the retraction of it. Reminds me of what something called Winston Marshall in the UK did with the band Mumford & Sons. He was made to do this apology, and then he wrote the apology back and said, "No, actually, I'm not sorry about recommending a book. Why should I be?"
Yeah.
And that's what we need more men in this society, and particularly more men who'll stand up for themselves.
Exactly.
And
women too. I think we need women to stand up, and not in the bathroom.
Yeah, please not in the bathroom. Just sit so we can all sit.
Yes. But that's another story for another time, Tudor. But you know what's great is that, like, what's going to happen? They should fire the publicist. I want to know who the publicist is.
Well, I think that it's great that he comes out and he says, "This wasn't me," because a lot of people would just let it be.
Yes.
But then he comments on what the publicist says, which I think is great, because he says, "You know, I will further educate myself, and then when I do that, I'm still going to believe that this is wrong."
Yeah.
Thank you. We all agree. Because at the end of the day, I cannot justify cutting off children's genitals. And it's like, why is this controversial?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, he's right. What kind of world do you want to live in where you apologize for that?
Yeah.
That's insane. That should have been my monologue tonight, not this other stuff about South Africa. Too
Who's
late. Can we
getting
go
fired
back?
here tonight?
No. Let's go back and retape the whole show. Kat, Neo pulled back the curtain, didn't he? A lot of people don't realize that many words are not spoken by the person saying them.
They don't?
No.
Because all those apologies always sound the same.
Exactly.
They're like, I thought about it. I'm really sorry. I deeply apologize to the people I've hurt, and I will educate myself and do the work. That's all. I don't know why we just don't have robots doing it.
We will.
Maybe we do.
It's probably just the chat.
It probably is.
Apology.
Yeah. Am I also like, this isn't his, what he said, especially in the entire rescinding the apology video, is not like a super conservative take.
No, not at all.
He actually, I mean, the majority of people, when it comes to things like medications, a majority of people will say that shouldn't even be available. He didn't even go that far.
Yeah.
He said, this is what I think with how I raise my kids, and you raise your kids how you want to raise your kids, and everyone's like, oh, Fox and Friends. Like, it wasn't even that. It was a nuanced take, and that's like the one thing you can't do anymore. And I think that it's one thing that we need a lot more of is nuanced takes, and people being honest and not being afraid to be honest about how they really feel over just worrying about losing money or a fan base or something like that.
I truly hate nuanced takes.
I know you do.
Thank you for laughing at that joke.
By the way, one quick thing.
Sure.
Somebody should condemn the publicist, because that thing about the apology to the LGBTQIA community, guess what? Most gay people don't want to mutilate kids either.
Exactly.
Okay? So they can cut that right out. This whole sticking of this weird gender woo-woo nonsense onto every gay guy and girl in this country, it's disgusting. So fire the publicists and call them a bigot.
Yes, amen. Tyrus, last word.
I would have been offended just based off the fact that his publicist didn't know him at all.
Right.
Because he starts every sentence with first and foremost, and if it's my bad, then so be it. Never a time, I believe, in Naya's life or my life that I say, after much reflection, that was literally, since we're going to do it, that was the whitest statement ever written in the history of man. And my blackness from my ancestors came up to me and were like, this is we don't talk like that. When I'm telling you right now, when a brother messes up, it's simple. Just like in a basketball court, if I cause a turnover, my bad, and that's it. All right, and we keep going forward.
Yeah.
Not that long, drawn-out thing. I'm pretty sure the name of the publicist is Karen.
Yeah.
I'm not 1,000%, but I feel like that's right. Karen Smith. That apology would only further let me know that they're also stealing my money.
Yeah.
So get rid of the publicist right now, because she's also signing a lot of things for you.
Yes.
And then when you find her stealing the money, she's going to send you the exact same letter.
Yeah.
She'll educate herself. So
She'll sue you.
She'll sue you.
All right, up next, will AI make girlfriends feel obsolete? And watch Brian Kilmeade get beat. Like the man said, we've got 3 stories ready to go, but probably only time for 2. Hey, that's in there. First up, women's rights activists are warning that AI girlfriends could pose a threat to real women by reinforcing controlling and abusive behaviors because the bots feed off the user's imagination and instructions. Tudor, isn't the big point that the threat is we may not need real women anymore, huh?
You know, at first when I heard this, I thought maybe this was like a Sister Wives thing, and I'm like, how can I use this to my advantage, right? But then I get into it, and it's like my husband's suddenly going to be going on it's like a virtual vacation to a cabin, and this AI chick is going to tell him all the things he wants to hear. I'm like, no one needs that.
Yeah.
Because I need to tell him all the things he's doing wrong, and she's going to ruin it. So forget that.
Yeah, you might have to, like, you know, find your own AI boyfriend, right? Huh?
No, I want to go to the virtual place by myself. See, that's the difference between just
you're one of those
put the kids away and let me have some time in the cabin with my coffee.
You know what would really freak them out, Kat? The boyfriends, if the AI girlfriend says, I think it's time you meet my parents.
Yeah.
That would freak me out.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is actually a good thing. I think it's a great thing. I think it'd be better if men who were like into being jerks could just do it to robots instead.
Yes.
My Instagram comments would be a lot better. I could go there.
Yeah.
You know, like, don't tell me to go myself, tell the robot.
And you know what, Tyrus? You don't have to worry about leaving the seat up. AI don't pee.
Yeah. With my luck, though, I'll be the first AI that tells me she's late. So,
Is it a boy or a girl? It's a toaster.
yeah.